welcome to the Westway Man Cave, where we have another edition of a talk through the Kilmarnock music scene. This afternoon we welcome Craig White, and Craig was a Badger sister, an original Niaerti, and probably the best and friendliest record store guy in Kilmarnock. Welcome, Craig, and thanks very much for coming along.
No problem. Pleasure to do so.
Thank you.
Craig, how did you start out in music and what were your influences?
Well, the influence was obviously punk. The first kind of movements we made in that direction were myself, Davey Wiseman and Mark Tree. We were always trying to form a band. Never could find a guitarist, really. It never ever came to much. You'd have the name, you'd have the album cover, you'd have the album title, but very little else than that. I can remember we started as the Disruptors, and then became ASC, which was Altered State of Consciousness, which was away on a different level. And nothing ever really came of it. But just actual seriously getting into a band was when I met Lawrence Bryce and became good friends, and we started hanging about doing Sirocco Studio. And yeah, we just hung about, and the scene was small. It was, as far as, these days it was the Penetrations with your heavy blues, or you had the Outpatients with kind of smooth kind of jazz funk. There wasn't a punk band, so we thought, we'll try and be the nearest, earliest thing to being a punk band in Kilmarnock. And I kind of suppose we were, because there really wasn't anything else there. And we just formed that. As the multi-influence, myself and Alan Cook were influenced by punk. He had an eye on the 80s as well, Alan. He could see what was coming. And we had Johnny with his beautiful Perspex guitar. That was the first thing I ever said to Johnny was, let me see your guitar. Because it was absolutely gorgeous. And he was coming from like Frank Zappa, Ry Cooder kind of direction. And Lawrence loved his reggae, certain elements of punk. So it was an interesting mix. It was an interesting...
What kind of year was that, Craig?
That would be, 79-ish, late 70s. So it's a while ago.
You played with the Badger sisters. How did they come about, and what's your memories of your early gigs?
Well, the early gigs, I think in total, there was maybe 10 or 11 gigs altogether. It kind of all merges into one in time. One I particularly remember was we played the Grand Hall in support of the nuclear movie, the Protect and Survive. And we played that, and we were really, really good that night. Big Lawrence was actually, and he tried it on. He says, I'm going to wear a see-through hazmat suit with a jock strap. It looked tremendous, but he bricked to it and just changed in. And we were really good that night, despite, after the film finished, the place half emptied. So for a wee while we're going to go, but actually there was enough folk left, and that was probably that was the peak, I think. That was, I think, as good as we got in a live setting.
It's not bad at all.
You released an album in 1979 called The Study in Gears. How did that come about? Where did you record it, and how did you finance it?
Oh, finance wasn't a thing. Johnny lived in a farmhouse outside Fenwick, and it just came together. We just borrowed Sirocco's outside mixing desk, just out the goodness of their heart. They said, you can have it for a weekend. And we just set it all up there, and just more or less, I would say we played everything we knew, but we didn't, because I had various memories of what was on it and what was no, because I hadn't played it for years and years. There's a copy there.
Album.
That's the reissue.
Signed as well. That's going on eBay tonight. So, yeah, we just recorded it up there, and I think Jerry Robertson manned the mixing desk. We had what we had, took it back to the studio, mixed it, and then we had the tapes and really nothing to do with it. So I just took it in myself. I just got a whole lot of blank tapes, and I got them copied. We released 15 copies. 15 copies, and my mate Richie Prendergast drew each one individually. So 15 copies, and apparently there's originals all over the world, but folk were getting it, taping it.
And it went on like that. And I remember actually seeing somebody, and it was the cross France ferry, somebody saw the Badger Sisters in the back of the toilet door. You know, so it went a distance without the need for any sort of reissues or anything. So there was 15 individual copies. I sold my last one to Michael Train in New York, who remastered the album for the reissue.
Excellent. So folk were taking them and it's passed on.
But that's it. That's it. As I say, I don't even have an original anymore. The guy really wanted it. So what the hell?
How did the songwriting work?
We just sort of got worked in tunes. I would go away, do some lyrics. Nothing outrageous. We'd have the tune and we'd bang away at the tune, and then you'd kind of hum along and whatever, and then I would get home and I'll say perfect the lyrics, but write the lyrics, you know, and just run about just whatever fitted. We'd try to keep it as kind of organic as we could. But,
you were an original member of the Niaerti. How did you get into them? How did that come about?
Well, the Fierties were practically the Badger Sisters minus Johnny, but plus Davy Wiseman. And it started out like that. And then we got a few more gigs like there. Then again, I was maybe there for about a dozen gigs, during which we got banned for Parkers, told not to go back there. We were banned from the hotel across from the Howard.
The
Hunt Lodge. We got banned for the Hunt Lodge. Yeah, we were there. A fella had a party in there, we played at it, and a fella I won't name ripped the toilet out and taken it home. It was the apocalypse. It looked like the apocalypse had happened after we left the place, and we were told we were no longer welcome. So we had a bit of an impact. We had a bit of a local impact. But the thing with both bands is that certainly my involvement with the Fierties and the Badger Sisters, there's no photographs.
Nothing at all?
No photographs. There was one that appeared in the Kilmarnock Standard. I think it was advertising the Grand Hall thing. But I was never able to locate it again. But nobody ever thought to take pictures.
I wonder if you get it through the archive.
If it was in the Kilmarnock Standard, they have them up in the Dick Institute, kind of the old standards.
Do they?
So it'd be Ian Russell, it probably had something to do with it.
There's no photographs, or they could have maybe brought something along.
Being an original member of the Niaerti, where did the name come from?
Well, the Fierties came from me. That was kind of my idea. And Big Lawrence had, and it was a kind of misappropriation as it turned out, because the Nia bits obviously has Rastafarian connotations, but our impression of the Rastafarian connotations was Nia. It was patois for no, like no fear. Nia Fierties, and that's the way it goes. But actually, at a later date, having looked up, and like Nia Bingi has been one of the Rastafarian tribes, and Nia Bingi stands for death to the black and white oppressors. So it was a bit of a strong statement when you look back like that. But yeah, it was kind of appropriate as it turns out. So it stuck anyway.
It certainly did. There you go, folks. You've been wondering where that name came for all these years. Now you know. What was your favourite venues to play locally?
Well, we played, most of them are now there anymore. Well, we enjoyed Parkers. We enjoyed Parkers and the Hunt Lodge too much, maybe.
What were you banned for Parkers, though?
I was jumping up and down to their tables and stuff.
Oh, okay.
Aye. Just the usual. And let's see, there was a place where the flyover is now, the Bickering Bush.
Oh, yeah.
There was a lot of gigs there. And the Fierties' first gig, we were to support the Cuban Heels.
Oh, yeah.
There. So we went there, behind Bushy Tails. And then they brought the Shaking Pyramids with them, so they didn't need a support. So we didn't get playing, but we stayed because the Shaking Pyramids were brilliant. Absolutely great.
Kind of rockabilly band.
Aye, privileged to see that. That was great. So I wasn't too bothered up.
At the Bickering Bush?
The Bickering Bush, yeah. Cuban Heels were awful.
Aye.
But
were they, aye?
Shaking Pyramids were brilliant.
You worked in Bruce's in the Home Entertainment Centre.
I did.
Back in the days, whenever we were a record buying country.
Well, that's it, yeah.
How did that come about?
Well, I just came about for applying for a job straight for school and getting it. But you had to turn yourself into a wee walking internet, a wee walking Discogs, because all this information, it wasn't just available at the touch of a button. So you had to really, really ken your stuff. I mean, my head was crammed with catalogue numbers, and they used to have a great big book. They called it the Bible, and it was every record of it, but it was practically useless. You had to live in your wits and ken where to go to find the records, thing. And it was a great job, because, you could play stuff, I think you'll like that, it's no YouTube at touch of a button. It's like, I ken what kind of fella you are, have a listen to that, And every time a Doll by Doll record went out of the front door, I'm going, yes.
Was it Bruce's first and then Home After
Bruce's first, yeah, Bruce's
I was
first.
telling you earlier, you used to shame me to buy stuff. Here, Dave, listen to this. You like it. You all like it. Buy that. Don't buy that gothy stuff or punky. Listen to this. Having Cookie would gang up on me.
That must have been the perfect job for you.
It was a great
Music
job.
lover.
It was a great job, and probably still been in that business, but the boss, Brian Finlay, it was two brothers, Bruce and Brian. And Brian came down to the shop one day and we thought, oh, he's here for the inspection. He says, right, we're shutting down, boys. Okay, right. When are we shutting down? By the time you get your coat and your bag and go, shut the whole chain to finance Simple Minds.
That's what it was.
And that's when Simple Minds were kind of taking off.
Aye. And that was it. So, I mean, they shut the whole chain. Well, I remember sitting down in the pub in John Finney Street, the Clansman. I was sitting there about 10 minutes later going, what just happened there? Because it was obviously take your stuff and go and don't be nicking on anything on the road out. That was basically what I have to do it.
This is surely.
Okay, got about 4 nights pay or something.
That was easy.
About 4 nights pay, out the door.
I wonder how Simple Minds felt about that. Putting loads of folk out. Must have been many shops at it off.
Bruce's, there was 2 or 3 in Glasgow, a couple in Edinburgh.
Must have been a dozen anyway.
It was a fair chain.
So everyone lost their jobs.
That's it, and it had a great name, the shop.
Aye,
It was good,
I can always remember about it. Where Bruce's was, there was a wee set of seats outside it, and I used to sit and look at it because see the display, it was the Classes London calling. I just thought, that looks brilliant. Back in the day,
I used to play cheap singles. I used to get in there and before I went to the Killie game and I'd buy 2 or 3 singles and an album every Saturday for my paper round money.
That's what that's
and they used to do
aye.
getting 3 singles for £1 or £1.50 or something like that, and everybody the same man, the Generation X, Valley of the Dolls and brown vinyl, the Dickies, Banana Splits and yellow vinyl, and Squeeze up the junction.
Nice and white satin.
And purple vinyl.
White,
And there was a selection you could choose between them. I was like, fun for that.
It was a great job. There's such a distinct memory of just this one customer, and I really don't know how I kept a straight face to him back out the shop. But we done second hand records.
Yeah.
Done second hand. You come in, we'd have a wee look, we'd sell, take a cut. And this wee fella went in, he must have been about 13 or 14. He came in and said, I've got these Elvis albums, you take them? So I turned them out. Sorry son, I can't take the records. Looks like somebody's been skating on them. I really wouldn't be able to sell them. Alright. Put them in the bag and away back out. On every album cut, by the time it went away out, and the rest of the time everybody else in the shops, but the cover of every album and great big marker pen, to Shanko from Elvis. I regret not saying there's £1 for one. I really regret it. I said, if I'd ever formed another band, it was going to be called To Shanko from Elvis. If you're still around, Shanko, sorry.
He's a millionaire now. He didn't really know Elvis. You were involved with the No Men, and we interviewed George last week. He described you as an information exchange. Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, well, I think it's just a simple case that between me and George we ken everything. So if I don't ken it, he does,
He let us know that last week.
He was excellent.
I thought he was really good.
Excellent.
He stuck to his principles. He
He did.
No, he's a lovely man.
He's good, George.
Well, you make connections through
lasting connections through the music you listen to. I mean, because Throbbing Gristle and Scott Walker fans aren't they thick in the ground, really. So you make your connections like that, you know, with the likes of George and Alan Henry, say him and me, the Perubu Kilmarnock branch of the supporters club.
That's what I said. I've been listening to them all week. I'd have been YouTube last night.
I was really very sad, although it wasn't unexpected when David Thomas died. It was really sad, because they originally had said they weren't going to announce it for 2 years after he died, but that was just one of their things. You know, that guy, he died 2 years ago. So I'm sitting going, was it 2 years ago? No, but that was sad. That was
thing to say, was it?
That was on the website. Well, we're not going to announce it. We'll keep it for a couple of years. And then, David Thomas, that guy, he died 2 years ago. But it's just one of the Ubu project things. If you're a fan, it doesn't really.
Craig, how has music changed you?
It kind of shapes your life, doesn't it? It kind of shapes your life. It's the way you live, the principles, you know. Like, I mean, as much as probably I'm bored by punk now, but it's really kind of how I go about my life. You know, like inclusion, equality. You know, I think that was the great thing about punk was all the inclusion and the involvement of many different elements, and especially bringing females into music.
Yeah.
I mean, hardly anything ever done it like that. But, you know, it's just a principle you see, you live by your beliefs. And
when you think about that, you're quite right. I mean, the kind of genres of music like punk and ska, the amount of female artists, I think it's quite a high percentage, which is brilliant. I mean, it's great.
the Slits, the Raincoats, you know, the Au Pairs.
Au Pairs. They've played.
I believe so.
The youngers posted up today, they're playing the Au Pairs with skid support, I think it is. So it's something I might be interested in.
With skids supporting them.
Yeah. Barland, April, I think, next year. There's only one original member, I think.
Well, the Au Pairs, I'm saying, I can't even remember, there's no many skids left either, is there?
There's just the one.
Yeah.
I think it's Johnson.
I remember seeing the skids when he was about 16.
Were they headlining? Or were they
supporting the Stranglers.
Oh, right.
Yeah. About 16. I'm trying to think if I'd seen them actually before that as well. That's why I kind of wonder if I'm still doing it, but you know. If he enjoys it.
He's getting by.
To be honest, they'll get it with the day again. And they stop on a great show. Craig, what's been the highlight of your musical career?
Well, the highlight, I have to say that the best music I ever produced, or we ever produced, was a session that the Fearties done at Sirocco. It was Davey, Cookie, myself. Lawrence didn't turn up for whatever reason, which wasn't unexpected from time to time. But we had the time, free again. And so we recorded 3 songs, 2 of which were our own, and one was a cover of Hank Williams' Long Gone Lonesome Blues. It was terrific. It was, we actually thought, we've created rockabilly here without a guitar. I was really, really proud of that, and I've never heard it since, and I wouldn't ken where to find it.
So it's not been.
It was tremendous.
Would Clark's only have it?
I've no idea if there's anything anywhere. Somebody said a chap, Callum Masson, might know.
Callum and Stuart, Callum stays. Davey knows him.
Yeah. That was what I was most proud of, so nobody's heard it.
So there's no guitar, was it Davey playing bass?
Davey bass
and
Cookie
drums,
drumming.
You and chanting.
Aye. And flinging glass at the wall and stuff.
Was Lawrence playing guitar? Was he the guitar?
Lawrence was played guitar, yeah. Davey come in and bass.
He was actually a bass player, Lawrence, wasn't he?
Lawrence could turn his hand to it. Aye. He was very skilled.
Aye, he was good, Lawrence.
Do you still keep in touch with the guys you played with?
Cookie's a Facebook friend. He's in England somewhere.
Yeah, he's down south.
Lawrence, unfortunately, is no longer with us. Johnny, I've no idea.
What the guys at the Fearties?
Oh, aye, Davey, aye. Stop
And Stevie and all.
I haven't seen Stephen for years.
In Germany?
No, I think he did, but he's back here.
So Stephen wasn't in the 40s when I was.
Oh.
You know, that was all after we. But the 40s kind of dwindled out. It was too undisciplined. You know, it was you we did a gig, and I particularly remember one at the Dunlop Hotel. I think maybe it was the last or one of the last anyway. And it was we were kind of playing along, and I always had a good guitar that night. Again, no guitar. You know, I've got a thing about guitars and no guitars. I busted a good guitar just making noise with it. And then Cookie would go, hey, I wrote a poem. Yeah, read it. And then I said, right, get a couple of songs. I came back, boy, I'm going to sing Scott Walker's Joanna. He said, no practice it. Just thing me. I'm just going to sing it. Just keep up. So I started singing it. You know, and if it was getting too much, it was just like, it was very hard lib. You know, we were doing songs, and then we were just doing things like that.
But I think that was
discipline
the joy of it, a 40s gig, because you didn't know it was going to happen.
That's it. You know,
And it was great to watch. It was great to
that
watch.
was the first time I met Davy Hughes, because his band were supporting us, the Galloping Gunshot Boys. They were supporting us. It was Davy come up and introduced himself. I said, Scott Walker song. He said, that was something else. I didn't say it was good that band, but it was something else. Of course, Davy's my brother-in-law now. So.
What advice have you got for young musicians?
Don't bother. No.
It's given you a life of enjoyment.
It's a very different landscape. It's a very different landscape now. Everyone's kind of touched the button, and I feel like people are too happy to accept what's put in front of them. You know, like just for an example, I'm genuinely puzzled why Ed Sheeran sold record one. How did that happen? It's because he was put in front of the people, and the people, all right. And there's a lot of that. There's so much music and I actually see television when I watch it, and it's just like, what was that? And it's just all very bland and on a plane. It's just, we really need another punk or something like it.
There's not youth groups anymore. I know youth culture.
It's whatever it is. It's not going to come for the guitar.
We were spoiled when we were young.
Yeah,
because
aye.
you had punk, and then you had the mod thing, and then you had the two-tone thing, and then new romantic thinking. There seemed to be a new kind of genre music coming along all the time, whereas I thought that was going to be like that forever. But it doesn't happen.
Even about the mid-80s, it just kind of went...
Just
kind of...
I think it's a case of, you know, the kind of BBC, if you like, and the big TV channels and your music channels, and if you play it enough, folk are going to like it. If you play it enough, they'll just like it. There's people who won't go out and explore new music like us guys will. Or
that's
they won't go out and explore new music. Probably you and George and, you know, guys like that are probably more into yourself, Barry, exploratory and stuff like that. I'm a bit lazy. You probably explore more than I do as well. But I look for new things. I like, you know, looking for new things as well. But what 80% of the population don't, do they?
You have to. You dig deeper. Have to dig deeper.
But I think there's a great excitement if you find something that you think, God, how have I not heard this before? It happened to me again a couple of years ago. I listened to Louis Dunford, and I thought to myself, Jesus, this guy's brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And me and the missus have been to see him a couple of times. First time was at the SWG3, and then the next time was at Barland, Sell Out. Nobody's ever heard of him up here. Nobody's ever heard of him. And we were the only two in the audience. You get what it's like when we go to gigs, usually a lot of folk there. But it was all youngins, me and the missus were the oldest folk in the place, but I just think the guy was absolutely brilliant, I think he's going to be a big star. But where do we go to? Apart from YouTube, can we watch things on YouTube, but it's that disposable. Can you watch it for 30 seconds? No, that's not for me, that's for me. You don't really give things a chance now. You're looking for something instantly.
There's a case of
it's a very throwaway. It's all very throwaway, and it's because, I mean, I don't know, the young people, they buy the music, but they're just buying the music. They're not buying a thing.
They're just listening on their phones or.
But you think that folk your age, you're trying to find something that you had when you were younger.
You're trying to find something that had the same effect. You're not going to get anything that sounds the same.
Which is practically impossible now.
Well, last time I had a thought, oh yes, this is the stuff for me, was rhythm and sound. The kind of German techno, kind of deep dub techno. And it's a branch of, it's like reggae, Jim, but not as we know it. It's very deep and plodding, but they utilised a lot of reggae singers. And that was the last time I went, oh yes, that's the stuff. But as I say, usually a lot of things are thin in the ground, to find, but
And you might have,
I'd catch up with them, rhythm and sound.
you might have covered this next question, but what do you listen to now, and how has the musical landscape changed for when we were punk rockers?
Well, it was good then. No, but it's just changed due to, as I say, the flooding of the market with stuff that I see as being no worthy of the name, as you say. But for myself, I'm listening to a lot of dub techno, dub and reggae as always. Some tribal stuff like Kaya Project, Globular. I'm very well into Globular. Listen to all sorts of stuff. Youth for Killing Joke. Some of his stuff's just incredible. And about Killing Joke, I got back to, I rediscovered Killing Joke in the last few years after giving up after the third album. I got back and caught up. So I've enjoyed that. Last album was tremendous. Pylon. Great album.
Do you still play music? Do you miss it?
I know. I realised at the time, especially when everything was so ad hoc, I thought, if I want to make the music that I want to, I would need to be a dictator. I would need to be like a David Thomas or a Kevin Rowland. But I'm not that kind of guy. And I just couldn't dedicate all my time and energy to do that, if you know what I mean. I couldn't. You're doing that. And especially no being a musician. You know, you need a disciplinarian, and I found I wasn't one. So
Am I one, Barry?
What do you say, boss?
the last notion I had before I packed in, I thought I really wanted to form, in my own words, it was a thinking man's heavy metal band. It was like some sort of heavy metal with kind of Scott Walker singing. That's where I was wanting to go. My everybody's going, no.
Well, like really loud sound, really melodic, kind of smooth, kind of voice, sweet voice, kind of thing.
Well, kind of, but you know. And then I think Nirvana came along a few years later. So.
Do you go to any local gigs? Can you go and check out the kind of local scene?
No, really, no.
No?
No. I'll buy the No Men stuff.
What's your plans for the future?
Plans for the future? Keep alive. As long as possible.
Craig White, it's been a pleasure.
It has been a pleasure. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Craig. Cheers.
Cheers.